Well, hello everybody, this is Steve. Today we're going to take a look at the ESV Study Bible. I'm very excited about this study Bible. There's a lot of great features. It's pretty widely known as one of the most comprehensive, best study Bibles that you can get. So let's take a look inside it, see what's going on. So this is the English Standard Version of the text, and it's a study Bible. On the spine it just tells you ESV, made by Crossway. So it does come with this little back piece. Gives you a little bit of information on it. There's over 1 million copies in print. And just a little bit about, cross references, words, notes, and a few people that have commented on it. You can go to esv.org or to Crossway's website if you want to learn a little bit more about it. Comes with a nice dust jacket. I chose to get the hardcover, and I chose to get it because this is a reference text. This pretty much sits on a shelf, and I use it for studying and for reference. Now you can get like a leather-bound copy, and they're really, really nice. You can use this for your personal Bible. It is on the big side. It's about 7 inches by I think 9.5 inches. It's about 2 inches wide. Okay, so it's big. It's a hefty Bible because there's a lot in here. But it's a great Bible to have, either as a personal study Bible that you use all the time. There's not a whole lot of room to write inside, or as just a desk reference. Like again, I keep it on my shelf next to my commentaries because there's a lot of good, solid information in this Bible that I want to have. So you get a couple of white pages. This is brand new. Also, it's worth mentioning, if you buy most of the time I've found, if you buy the hard copy of this, on Amazon it's about $33 for the hardback copy. That is not a lot of money for what you're getting. Then if you buy this and you buy the hard copy of the book, you can get the Kindle version for $2.99. That's huge, people. That's huge. So you get both of them. You can have the Kindle version with you all the time. The Kindle version is a little bit more difficult to navigate. You got to practice, but you'll have it. You have it there. And then you have this on your desk to study from. So you get your presentation page. You also get a lot of nicer Bibles have, any Bibles really, have just lists of marriages in your family, births and adoptions in your family, deaths in your family, just a little record of your family and your family's life. So if you choose to pass this Bible down, they have a record of it. Sometimes if you find your some of your old members of your family, 2-3 generations back, you find their Bibles, it'll have a list of this stuff in there, and that's actually a pretty cool thing to have. Your title page, of course, the ESV Study Bible by Crossway. This is this question gets asked a lot. So this is the ESV text, the 2016 text edition. We've talked about that in my Cambridge reviews, that Cambridge puts out the 2011 text edition. There have been some slight variations to words and stuff that they've gone through and corrected or changed. But this is the 2016 text edition. Then you get your table of contents. So in a study Bible, especially this study Bible, the table of contents is going to be important. Of course, you have your books of the Bible, the Old Testament and the New Testament, and you hopefully have a relatively decent idea where those are. But what you might need to refer to are a list of abbreviations, your contributors. We're going to go to that page in a minute, and all the different resources they have that are a part of this Bible that you might want to refer to, such as just the theology of the whole Old Testament. Like, why the Old Testament? What does the Old Testament mean? How do I read this? It'll give you a couple pages, like an article that a theologian wrote on how to do that. Some dates you have, calendars, introductions. So this study Bible has a really super cool feature, and it has an introduction to each section. So if you didn't know this, each different book and or letter, they're all different types of writing. The whole Bible isn't written in one style. You have historical books. You have the law, the Pentateuch, okay? Poetic, books of poetry. books that are prophets, the major prophets and the minor prophets. Okay, you get into your New Testament, you have epistles, they're letters, the pastoral epistles. Okay, why do I need to know all that? Well, it's important to know what genre of literature you're reading, because it helps you interpret it correctly. Just like you wouldn't open your newspaper and read the sports page the same way you're going to read the main headline, the same way as you're going to read the obituaries. Those are all different types of writing, or an editorial, for example. Those are all different styles and types of writing, and you kind of need to know what you're reading. You wouldn't open up Shakespeare and read it the same way you're going to read a science textbook. And you need to understand that. And these introductions will help you to do that. You might want to refer to them. It also gives you a huge list of articles and resources. And this is your money in this Bible, because these are great articles that you can refer to and that you can learn from. Interpreting the Bible, how to read it, the canon, where did that come from, the reliability of the manuscripts. This is great information. And it has a lot of illustrations. That's another thing really good study Bibles have, are illustrations. So if you're reading through about the temple, chances are there's going to be a drawing of the temple. And it'll help you understand a little bit more what they're talking about. So you get the general introduction, how to use this Bible, what are some of the unique features of it, why the ESV was written. And this is an important page that might get skipped over, but I want to talk about it just for a minute. And this is the list of contributors who interpreted and commented, because we're going to see a little bit later, you're going to get commentary on each of the verses. Who did that? It's important to know who your theologians and exegetes are that wrote this stuff. There are some names in here that should stand out to you. Wayne Grudem, he probably is, maybe I would say, most well known for systematic theology. It's a big, thick, systematic theology book that you should have. If you're a Christian, you should have a copy of that sitting on your desk, because you should know and be learning about systematic theology and how to do systematic theology. And this guy wrote a great book on that. There are a couple other very phenomenal books, but his name's big. Okay, J.I. Packer, Darrell Bach, his name is in here a couple of times. He's an exegete that's written a number of commentaries. Excellent. So these are all important people to know. And if you start reading commentary and you want to know, hey, this sounds kind of funny, I want to know about this guy, you can go back and refer to them and find out, what they're about. Okay, so then we get into the preface. A little bit about the specific Bible and about the translation. The ESV, just since this happens to be an ESV, is an almost literal translation. The New American Standard Bible is kind of most well known as being the most literal that it can possibly be. There are words and phrases you just can't translate. But the ESV is almost literal. So sometimes the NASB can be a little bit more difficult to read unless you're really super used to it. But you should have a Bible like the New American Standard Bible or the English Standard Version for study purposes. These are the texts you should be studying about. New King James. Okay, your NIV is a great Bible to just read from, and we'll do a different video on that later. But that's what the ESV is, and it tells you a little bit about it, and that it's an almost literal translation. Okay, so it gives you an overview of the whole Bible, and then it gives you these introductions that I told you about. These are great. This is an introduction to just the Pentateuch. Okay, just the first 5 books: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. And it tells you a little bit about them. It tells you about the law. It tells you, it gives you some helps on how to read these books and understand them better, the type of literature that it is. And then each individual book of the Bible, all 66 books of the canon, have an introduction. These introductions are huge when you're studying, because you need to know who wrote it, when did they write it, approximately. Okay, what kind of writing were they doing? Where did they write it? Who did they write it to? How did they write it? How was it arranged? Some of the key themes that are in there. So as you're reading through, you can understand these books, Genesis, Exodus, they were not written one line at a time. Actually, when they were written, there were no numbers. There actually weren't any paragraph breaks or anything like that either. We added those. So if you're reading it one verse at a time, and not at least understanding the chunks and how it was written and who there's a chance you're going to misunderstand some stuff. So these introductions will help you. Okay, and each book has that. And then a little outline. That's kind of handy, especially on some of these bigger books and history books. You can look back, because these are big. I think Genesis 50 chapters, right? Let's see if I'm right. 49. I was off by one. Oh, look, it is 50 chapters. I know what I'm talking about. So this will give you an idea, the outline of what's going on in each book, and that'll help you as you read through it. Okay, so now we get into the text. It's 60-40. It's between 60-40 and a 50-50 break between the actual text and the commentary, and that's what you're getting with the study Bible. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why it's super thick. But each verse, almost every verse is commented on. Not every single one of them, because not every verse needs commentary. But the people that we mentioned in the beginning that contributed to this, they comment on what these verses mean. They're going to help you understand what a specific word means in Hebrew, who this person was and why he was important. And it might not tell you that in the verse before and the verse after. So they give you some little extras to help you study and to help you understand better. You also get, of course, your some of your cross references. Maybe this verse is mentioned somewhere else in the Bible or referred to, and it'll tell you where it's referred to. And then you also get some footnotes. Sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less. Sometimes there's a word that couldn't be translated, and it'll mention it down here, or it'll tell you in the Septuagint, they used this wording, we use this wording to help you understand better, that kind of thing. So that's your main text and some of your main features of the actual specific scripture part of this study Bible. It's also going to give you some maps, which these are super helpful. I love having maps, because when I'm reading, man, they're just rattling off names of cities and towns, and not many of us have a full, complete working knowledge of the ancient Near East and where all these places were. Okay, so it's super handy to just have it to flip back and look at. So let's keep flipping through to the back, where we're going to get to some meat and potatoes. So, like we showed it in the table of contents, after you get through, and there's going to be some scattered articles kind of scattered throughout. This Bible is relatively new for me, so I don't have a bunch marked out for you. But there will be articles scattered through these pages. But we talked about, in the beginning, having a good understanding of some of the things that are going on. And here's a great one. For example, the original languages of the Bible. This is just a quick article. I mean, this is not a college level class that you're taking here in the back, but this is a phenomenal article that I've browsed through on the languages that the Bible was written in. Why is that important, you ask? Well, because I'm from California, and in California, we speak Spanish and English. Okay, I unfortunately am not fluent in Spanish, but there's a lot of Spanish speakers here. And you need to understand that Spanish is different from English. They organize their words differently. I have even a better example for you. And my sister-in-law is profoundly deaf. She has been since birth. And my whole wife's side of the family speaks sign language fluently. Sign language is not English. You do not sign the same word for everything you say. The words are all rearranged. So we would say, for example, how are you doing? Well, the words aren't arranged that way in sign language, and there aren't signs for every individual little connecting word. Well, the Bible's the same way. Hebrew and Aramaic and Greek don't work just like English. So you need to know as you're reading the text, how it's worded, because that could change the meaning of the paragraph or the verse that you're reading if you don't understand that they might emphasize different words in a sentence differently than we do in English. And these articles are going to help you with that. Give you little miniature classes. And these articles are all written, again, by world-class theologians. okay? So, and you're going to get in the back, you're going to get a concordance. This concordance isn't too bad, but it's a basic concordance. You should probably buy a big full concordance if you're going to do some real in-depth word studies, but this will give you an idea. And a concordance is essentially, if you're not familiar with concordances already, is you can look up the word blood and it'll tell you, and again, this one is not exhaustive, but it'll give you a handful of verses where the word blood is mentioned. Or blasphemous. Well, what does that mean? Well, you can go back and look up 3 or 4 verses on how they use the word blasphemous. That'll help you out a little bit. And all the way at the very back, we have your maps. Bigger versions than the ones that are wrapped up inside the text. And I love those features. So I highly recommend this Bible, this text. It is only $33. I know that because I just recently purchased it. $33 for the hardcover edition. You can get I think the personal size, which cuts it down to about this, has, I think, all the same information. It's just smaller and the words are quite a bit smaller. That one, the hardcover edition, is about $25. I'll try to post links in the comments down below. You can get this version in leather. You can actually get a premium version, I just found out, that's got all the same information, just with premium leather, goat skin and such. I think Allen makes that. But Crossway makes a really nice leather edition if you want it for your family Bible, or to have a leather version. If you're going to use this as your primary, you might want to spend a few extra bucks. And the Crossway leather edition is only like $80. Still a great value for what you're getting. So do yourself a favor and pick yourself up an ESV Study Bible, because there are so many resources and helps and good commentary on the verses inside it that you should have it on your shelf. I hope this video has been helpful and given you not only a little review of what's inside this specific ESV Study Bible, but giving you a few tips and tricks on study Bibles if you're not familiar with them or don't have one, and how to use them and how they work. If you have any questions, please post them down in the comments. If you like these videos, there's a few other Bible reviews I've had. You can check those out and share away. But again, if you have any questions, type them down in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. I don't print, of course, or make the Bibles. I do not work for these companies. It just is my goal to get you resources, to show you what's out there, and to help you grow in your relationship with God through the tools that we have available to us. And the tools that we have available to us today is more than any other time throughout history, because we all have, just for the very sole reason that we all have the ability to have a Bible in our houses. Most of us probably have more than one. Hope you guys have a great day. See you on the next one.